be a great matchup. Both teams pretty statistically alike, 88% completion rate on both ends, about similar score amount too, but they have not faced each other yet. So this is gonna be a new matchup that we haven't seen as viewers, and we're ready to take off. I'm Emily Langlin. I get to be joined by these two talented athletes.
Hi there, I'm Erin Schrader.
And I'm Emily Cohen.
All right, let's get started. Looks like the teams are now currently deciding, how we're going to get started. We were able to talk with some of the coaches prior to the game and got a lot of really good insights. What were some of your takeaways that you all heard from the coaches?
Yeah, I mean, Indy's coming away from a really big weekend where they had big wins over big teams. So they really earned their spot here just last weekend. So I think that excitement is carrying them forward. And Radiance is no stranger to these championships. They've been here at least 3 times and have won once. So this will be a great matchup. In the spirit of the Premier Ultimate League's mission to achieve equity in the sport of Ultimate, as we have the privilege to come together here in Madison, we want to acknowledge that the rights and freedoms of many Americans continue to come under threat. There are challenges to the lives, self-determination, and basic safety of many groups of people, and most notably the transgender community and immigrant communities at risk of deportation. Globally, humanitarian crises imperil the human rights of the people of Gaza, Congo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And beyond these situations, many other groups face attack based on their identities and beliefs. As we bear witness to these many tragedies, we must come together to stand up for justice and the collective liberation of all people. Out of respect for all those seeking liberated future, if you feel moved, we welcome you to join in a moment of silence together.
All right, we see both teams with a lot of excited energy. When we were on the sidelines, you could just tell both of them are ready to just push tonight and give themselves another chance at a finals.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of the offensive and defensive sets here. The previous semifinal between Gridlock and DC Shadow, we saw a lot of vert stack and a lot of person defense, but I've heard that Indy plays a lot of zone, so I'm excited to see what that looks like, and we'll see what the offensive sets look like. Up on your screen, you can see the teams here. DC did win in that semifinal matchup, and they will face either the Red or the Radiance tomorrow in the championship.
And this year, we were actually lucky to see DC play against Raleigh a couple of times. DC taking both of those games, but each time they played, the score was closer and closer. Once again, this game tonight is a new matchup for us. So we also know Indy has not seen DC, I believe, this year either. So that would be new as well.
Looks like Radiance will come out on defense here, and Red will be on offense. Behind the field today, there's a fair. It's the Fireman Fair weekend. So if you see that in the background, rides are waiting for after the game.
The sun's starting to come down a little bit. Might be a factor with some of those different angles of the disc coming in. But other than that, it's pretty nice weather. We're looking at around 77 degrees. There are some slight wind gusts, but it's nothing that you would necessarily change the dynamic of how you would attack this game defensively or offensively.
Looks like we got Ellen Yu on the pull here, so we're just about to kick off.
Nice pull. It sails past the brick mark. Oh, and a first throw turn from the Red. Talking with their coaches, they were mentioning the mindset coming into this game and reminding their players that nerves are natural and that no player is perfect. And what they're looking for is just players to bring energy and enthusiasm when they're on the field. And with this defensive pressure, I think they're holding true to that. I see some forehand forces here as the disc moves around the field. Radiance has not gained a lot of yards since this turn. Big throw goes up and is caught.
A great grab there.
Indy starting off with a nice big break.
Oh, this is, yeah, Raleigh scores.
Oh, sorry, Raleigh, excuse me. Both have red jerseys.
Ginny Riedel throwing it to number 22, Julia Zerzinski. Nice quick score there.
I liked Raleigh's patience on that. They were swinging it sideline to sideline. And yeah, paid off for them, so.
I appreciate Raleigh just attacking right away, showing that they're not afraid to put it deep. That instantly makes the defense go, okay, these are some of the viable threats that they're willing to put out, which might start to get that defense to play a little more strategic on that.
Yeah, our Raleigh D-line looks pretty much the same, but we have a new line out for the red. Connecting on some passes this time. Big throw goes up to Matamore, who comes down with it. Right on the doorstep, finding Mast. Back to Matamore for a goal.
What a response from the
There
red.
we go, clean hold.
Same thing, like just attacking that deep space. Both teams are just fired up. This is gonna be a great matchup, 1-1.
Looks like we're gonna get a glimpse of the Radiance O-line coming up next. Yeah, this pace, it's just a trust throw to plenty of space there. Nice goal.
You know, both coaching staffs definitely like systems and team mindset. There's a lot of players that would pop on the paperwork individually with some of their strengths, but we all know that you get those stats because your teammates are helping you grow it, along with being a talented athlete. But it's just fun to see the different types of players also get lifted throughout the different points. And we got Riso with a pull to start it off for Indy.
And that pull lands just out of bounds, so it's going to be taken at the brick mark.
Yep, Alex Barnett picking up the disc. Centering for Radiance. Looks like Indy is in their zone as we predicted.
And Indy got a good core of their St. Louis players. Melissa Jo Gibbs, we have Skittles on the deep, and then we have Eliza Hutchinson on that far side.
And I'm sure with film study, Radiance was prepared for this zone, so they're ready to play some zone O tonight. Disc staying inbounds. Good read by Claire Bittigery-Curtis. Jenny Way with the disc, centers to Claire Revere.
And it looks like red has flowed out of their zone. Now they're in some more person D as it gets closer to the red zone. Big swing from Alex Barnett.
Good centering pass for movement. Disc is moving laterally. Lots of handler movement here near the end zone. There we go. Jenny Way into Alex Barnett.
Taking care of business. And we'll probably see some more of that zone. We know Indy was very successful with their their New York matchup. So they saw a lot of success with that, which makes sense why they wanted to show it right away.
Yeah, I think this zone, it's just got certain people in certain spots, and they've run it a lot. So at this point, each of those players just knows their role really well. And if everybody can lock down their space, it makes it a lot harder for Radiance. But Radiance did a nice job moving through and forced Indy to transition their defense to person. We got Lyra Olsen here to pull for Radiance.
I'm excited to get another look at Red's offense here. Thinking they can bounce back from that first possession. So
It is a bit confusing that Red is the team in the light jerseys and Radiance is the one in red. Both teams here wear red jerseys sometimes.
Yep, I totally messed that up to start us off. So don't worry, I've already made that mistake. We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
A great cut from Rachel Mast.
Yeah, way to reel that in.
She peeled off the front of the stack there and went deep right away. We got a D from Mary Rippey.
A D from Mary Rippey, who has the most Ds on the team this year.
And immediately shooting deep. See if she can get there.
Wow,
10.
excellent
Great
read in box. Radiance nearing the doorstep again. Lyra Olsen's holding the disc, looking for a reset.
Little lefty backhand there.
Nice, and finding Mary Rippey.
Bookends for Mary Rippey there.
And the stall count was rising. You could feel that pressure and that calm, patient, just offhand, just to kind of reset it. Great.
And that's just great defensive positioning there.
You know, even though Indy is down by a couple, I mean, most of their line is jogging. Their body language is still at a winner's mindset. And just like what was mentioned before the game, you know, mistakes happen or things don't go your way. But what we're here to do is like do our best every single like point that we can.
Yep, there's a reason they're here in this game. Easily can make a comeback here.
And Indy's got a lot of great momentum going up, you know, 2 overtime victories back to back, including coming over an undefeated New York. But they said this is just a new game. We do have a lot of that good momentum, but we're ready to just attack for this final.
This PUL sails between halfway and the brick mark. Indy is set up in a vert stack here with a little handler poach to encourage the sideways motion, but nothing upfield. Cuts from the front of the stack, finding Mast. Back to the center. And a big throw, looking for Matamore again. Oh, good read, but not a catch.
Yeah, there were 2 Raleigh defenders on either side, so good effort there.
Helen Yu holding the disc for Radiance.
Nice inside break.
Yeah, swing pass to the break side. That gets the disc back.
Whoa.
Makeda McElmore getting that D back.
We're seeing a lot of deep spots just right out of the gate, especially that forehand huck on both sides.
And a little bit too high of a throw there, so it's going to be Raleigh's disc on the sideline. Another great D.
The D on that centering pass puts the disc back with Indy Red. And another turn. This did happen in the first semi as well. There were a couple clean points, and then there were a couple that had several turnovers. So some of those jitters coming out slightly delayed. Ball will catch there.
We have another deep look. One defender there. Oh,
Yeah,
they get it.
Intense coverage. Makeda Matamore going to work on both sides of these big deep shots. It's exhausting work.
Looks like we have Tracy Lowe picking up on the front of the end zone there.
Great grab by Indy. Quick give goes into space.
We got multiple folks going deep.
Eliza Hutchings going deep.
Nice. What a great grab.
Catches it just outside the end zone.
We had a high release backhand, and it'll work.
Liza just gave it 110%.
Yeah. Hutchings to Rains.
One of the St. Louis cohorts, also pretty active goaltee player, which you will see on the end zone line, some creative throws getting into that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a grind of a point. You'll see on here on the replay. Just a lot of back and forths, a lot of great defense. But ultimately, Red locked it in with this great grab here.
Yeah, that was a really back and forth point. Nice job, Red, for punching that one in.
And Aaron was able to inspect the field during the first semis, and that ground is not the softest. So if you see some players getting up and wincing a little bit, that makes sense.
Yeah, this game is being played on grass, which is a little atypical for the Premier Ultimate League. Generally, most games are played on turf, but we're here at the rugby complex in Madison with some grass fields, but it's not been especially rainy lately, so under the grass, the dirt is pretty hard.
Got a big outside in pull from Annie Myling.
Radiance is set up in a host stack, and Red is playing the Rizzoni Pochi defense. Clearing space with fakes there. Nice work, Radiance handlers. Several passes, but mostly for not many yards or sometimes for a loss.
Yeah, it looks like Indy's zone is really forcing the disc kind of to the outside. So they're junking up the middle and not allowing Raleigh to get up through the middle. So
Yeah, and the Raleigh cutters seem to be falling for it a little bit. There's not a lot of outside edge movement once it swings to that sideline.
Heard the crowd get a little bit excited about that one. They thought they were going to get that B.
creative throw there, but it looks like the number 6 from Raleigh might have slipped.
Yeah, Jenny Way, I think that throw is intended for Way, but there's a stumble on the initiating movement.
And great look to space, too. They did a good job utilizing a lot of different breaks, looking across the whole field. Just didn't pan out. Ooh, good heads up.
Good quick movement here from Radiance, not letting that zone set up. Looks like Red is back in person defense now. Forcing flick. No problem for Radiance, who swings it around. Oh, and is looking for Claire Vittigeri-Curtis, who makes a good bid, but can't hold on to it near the sideline.
Definitely trying to maintain and yardstick take down those toes to keep in. There's just a lot of things he had to juggle in that one play, but great effort.
So we'll get another look here at Red's D-line offense.
All right, Risa throws to that under. See another quick under for a good chunk of yards.
Another turn here. Radiance picks up and puts it to the end zone for Jenny Way again, but this one's too far.
And it looked like on the Indy play, there's another just like little slip of the cleats, which is going to happen when you're on that harder ground. You might notice some of the players using more chops when they're turning and changing directions to compensate for this.
We've got a foul on the play. No
Yeah.
contest from Claire BC.
Stuck on the sideline here.
We heard a whistle, so I think there might have been a
Yeah, good time for a timeout.
timeout. Yep.
In the PUL, there are 2 timeouts per team per half, and they last 70 seconds. The offense must be set after the first 50 seconds, and the defense has that extra 20 seconds to find their space on the field.
All right, the PUL is sponsored by Discraft. Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League, the world leader in disc sports. Discraft. There's a quick action of the aquatic center that I know some players trickled over there after their first semifinal.
We've got Indy here setting up in a vert stack that's kind of angled toward that sideline. One player is out in space as the dump, but the other 5 players are in the stack. Radiance is trapping on the line, forcing forehand.
Yeah, and just cupping the front of that stack there on Rachel Mast.
Yeah, let's see how Indy clears out some space to open up for others with that adjustment.
Nice around from Tracy Lowe.
Yeah, good quick movement here from Indy. Players now finding the stack again. Cuts from the front, cuts from the back. There's 1 minute remaining in the first quarter. In the PUL, the first 3 quarters do not end with a buzzer beater. Instead, whichever team is in possession of the disc when the clock runs out will retain possession until either a turnover or a score. In the 4th quarter, there will be a buzzer beater. So with 35 seconds, Indy is hoping to just hold on to the disc until the time runs out, which at least guarantees that that Radiance won't score. Jersey color got me again. But they would love to score after the time runs out. And a score before the time runs out is not necessarily a bad thing. It does put the disc back in Radiance's hands, though, as they'll have to pull the disc.
Nice, they lock it in there. Looks like that was Kat McGuire on the score.
All right, we got a 3-3 matchup, and then we know that there's a 10 or 11 seconds left, so we do get to see at least one more play. Possibly a fun end of the end zone big shot. Crowd doesn't mind it.
Yeah, this was another point with several turnovers, and it feels like Red's the one coming down with those.
We've seen a lot of the zone line for Indy coming back out. We could do the commentator curse where maybe I say zone and then they're completely person, you know. But it makes sense to maybe have a couple people back in case that deep shot goes up to really stop it so that they don't take the lead.
And with that, the first quarter time is over, which means this time Radiance will have a chance to score. But if they turn it over, the quarter will end with no score.
Yep, they just get to play catch as long as they want.
Yeah, D here is super important. If they score, they'll go up 4-3.
Oh. Very close on that D there from Eliza.
Looked like had a full piece of it, and then that great responsive catch afterwards.
Nice find there from Alex Barnett to swing to Claire Revere. Disc is now back in the center of the field, looking toward the end zone. Swings to the break side.
Raleigh seems very patient here. They are willing to get this score. Yep,
Yeah.
there it is.
It looked like mostly just 3 players kind of swirling and being active there in that end zone set.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a handler dominator.
Right.
But it works, it works.
Yeah, good patience there by those 3.
And Skittles tried to peel off on that strike, but then just smart awareness to just cut back for that quick little dishy.
So going into the second quarter, Raleigh is...
All right, yeah. So one player that we'd like to highlight is Matamore from Indy Red. Matamore has been kind of all over the field, generating blocks and also catching goals. Here we see Matamore catching that big deep ball, finding a reset, and immediately open for a goal. Chemistry there with Rachel Mast. They play on hybrid together. Here we see Matamore going up in the deep space to get a block. And this is one of 2 blocks she's had so far this game in the first quarter.
Yeah, you can just see heads down, pure fire underneath that player. So it'll be fun to continue to see and watch her go.
So we've got Red pulling to Raleigh here. We'll start off the second quarter.
This is their D-line, so again, we probably expect their zone. Talking with the Indy Red coaches, it sounds like they have a pretty tight O-line, and they have 2 separate lines that can play this zone defense. This looks like a different one that we were seeing for the last couple points of that first quarter. But
Nice.
a similar O-line here from Radiance. Yeah, that was a nice hammer right over the top here. Alex Barnett and Claire Bittigary-Curtis working it in the middle. Swinging it out to Katie back as Melstrup. There we go.
Nice.
There we see Alex Barnett again to Melstrup.
And we saw Indy go out of
Oh.
that zone pretty quickly.
Did you see that fun celebration? Let's see more of those.
That had to be planned, right?
Oh, I think that was Audrey Lyman. Yeah. Score was to Audrey Lyman.
Oh.
Yeah, look at
Missed
that.
that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Truthfully, I'm glad they replayed it. Didn't see a lot of too many crazy celebrations in our first semifinal. It was pretty business, and so it's kind of fun to see some of the different personalities come out. Obviously, the first semifinal, both teams were very excitable, but we didn't see maybe pre-planned spiking or celebrations.
Yeah, no handshakes that I remember. LNU with another big pull for the Radiance. Sailing well past the brick mark. close to the end zone. Red is in their vert stack, and they're being forced forehand. Looks like a pretty straight up mark. Nice seal there by Mary Rippey. Mast with the disc, passes up the field to Squid.
Huge run.
Wow, Makeda Matamore again. Goal number 2 of the game.
That brings us to 5-4 type game so far. Not quite as like high scoring as the previous final, but like we're noticing that just back and forth. And so it makes you wonder what's fourth quarter going to look like with this matchup. Be interested if Indy keeps persisting with their zone or if they're going to try a different look in this particular point.
Yeah, I mean, it's been working. I think they've been playing zone and they've been scoring with it.
If it's not broke. You know, Madison is neutral ground for both teams, but there are some Madison connections within both teams. Melissa Gibbs playing for Heist for a number of years, being a travel player, and then LNU on the other side too, having that Madison connection. So you are hearing some individuals getting called out or some enthusiasm for one team or the other.
Oh, unfortunate drop there. Puts the disc in Red's hands.
Great grab.
Yeah, we're seeing some nice flow up the open side, but now a break throw back to the break side here. Handler's content to swing it. Looks like Radiance is letting them move it laterally, but not up the field.
Quick inside out, sealed by Skittles.
They're gonna look deep.
St. Louis connection, here we go.
Oh! I think there might be a call here. We're gonna wait for some hand signals.
Sounds like a strip is called.
Yep, we see them going through. Hutchinson, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, Eliza definitely had hands on it, but I'm not sure if rotation had stopped when Audrey got in there. Looks like observers have called it a turnover.
Thankful for that great camera work. Oh, that's got some float.
Yeah, this is nice, wide open, deep cut.
Raleigh response.
Nice work.
Ooh, showing off the muscles.
Bringing it 6-4. Little under 9 minutes left to play. Yep, there it is again. Boom. And the stadium's starting to develop some shadow work from the sun setting. So, you know, with Eliza turning on that deep throw too, it looked like the sun was almost facing, which makes it a little more of a challenge.
Right. Yeah, hard to know if Eliza knew the defender was right there too, to kind of secure the catch as early as possible.
But great run by both teams.
Yeah, it's an excellent defensive play.
So Red's in their vert stack here, peeling off the front again. Resetting.
Yeah, nice handler movement and also cycling, pushing back to the stack.
inside out flick to space. Can they get there?
Oh, great bid.
Yeah, big throw by Laura Gerinser. Looked good.
But these discs are sailing a little further than I would have thought here in this end zone, so well, it's just out of reach.
That was Champ Kernans on that big throw. Sorry, Reigns.
Looks like a backhand force here now. Ooh,
It's a little tight.
that's also that spot where the shade ends, so I wonder if some light in the eyes on that catch too. Good containment defense here from Radiance as Red moves the disc.
Tracy Lowe wanted that break side throw, or at least a cut under. Just on the outside of the end zone. Some patience here. Ooh, cheeky, I like it.
Raleigh really tight. I mean, you had to have a kind of really unique throw to get between those two defenders, really holding up that space. Cheeky, cheeky.
Lady Red Bull, number 18, Laura Algie Gerinser. Assisted by
Again, we're seeing this great effort on the bid there.
7 to 6 left in quarter number 2. Raleigh Radiance 6, Indy Red 5.
Yeah, it looks like Tracy Lowe tried to jump it in there, but just not quite in.
I like that angle on the camera. It feels like you're part of the game there.
Yep, finds Gerinser again.
All right, just around 7 minutes to play. We got Raleigh up by 1, Indy trailing. But once again, back and forth matchup the whole way through.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these points have been clean. I think it's only been one or two. So I think it's just important to be patient with that disc, wait for those openings, push through the pressure. Both teams are playing very good defense.
Yeah, I feel like both teams are having a little bit of stagnation down the field still, coming out of that stack. So they're relying more on their handlers just to kind of move the disc, and then maybe a little bit of lack of patience and having to shoot deep.
Big bid by Riza.
I'm hearing calls for fire. Indy's transitioning back out of their zone. To a flick force here.
Big under there.
And we see these Radiance handlers again working together near the end zone. Audrey Lyman and Alex Barnett. There they go. Finding Julia Hoffman.
Barnett just every other there, just really helping maintain that possession.
Yeah, it's very impressive footwork just to quickly get that disc off the throw and go. We'll see that here or before.
But I think one of the things of value about her as a player is immediately getting into position. So even though the disc didn't go her way there, you know she was ready to be a threat or an opening option. It's those little things, right? Those little things add up and help make a team successful. So appreciate seeing those.
Yeah, I think here it's just going to be a grind of the O-lines and the D-lines. Intense person defense from Radiance and a pretty intense zone from Red. And it's just who can hold on to the disc as this game continues. The PUL games can feel very long. It's almost like 2 tournament games. Indy is swinging the disc around, making cuts from their vert stack.
It's almost simultaneous cuts from the front and back of the stack for Indy.
Big
Layout
save.
grab.
Yeah, disc is called up.
defender also giving it her all.
Good swings to the break side. Continuing to the break side. Mast finds Matamore. Back to Mast.
Raleigh really wanting to extend this lead. You see the defensive pressure.
Oh, yeah, some contact there. Held on to by Mast. And another score.
Yeah, even with all of that pressure, Indy still pushes through to keep it a nice 1-point game.
Yep, nice clean hold there by Indy Red.
All right, we get to see it again. Big save, yep. Great play by both athletes.
That was Reigns to low.
Nice throw into space. Good work.
This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops.
Only had good experience with Breakmark. Like, every time we do team jerseys, buttery.
Here we see Risa Umeno with another pull for Indy Red. Disc is picked up by Jenny Way.
Ooh, a little offhand.
Oh, looks like the handlers are just working it. Looks kind of like their end zone, but down the field. Now finding the cutter space.
Wow.
Nice. Way to possess under tight coverage there.
I feel like all those throws had nice big windows. The cutters did a good job setting themselves up. You can see that there. And they just made the throwers drop pretty easy. So we love to see that.
And Raleigh did a good job of showcasing how that handler movement doesn't always necessarily need to be a strike cut. It can be that kind of quick push into space, and that offhand throw can also help them be in that power position. And they did multiple of those handler cuts. So if you're looking to learn a different type of angle of attacking the field, Raleigh just showed a great way. All right, 6-8. Raleigh still leading the way. With 4 minutes left, I'm curious if we're going to see some timeouts kind of pop in and out as it's getting closer. Maybe some strategic line switches.
Yeah, so each team gets 2 timeouts per half per team.
There's a call on the field. Looks like the disc will come back. Swarzynski is calling a foul.
I did see some contact, but I didn't know if it was slippage or but it looks like we're looking at a foul.
Yeah. Mast, I think, was wide open deep and may have initiated contact before going deep. Looks like they're talking about it. Disc has come back.
Stall's coming in on 1.
Ooh,
Big
a high swing.
Ooh.
Oh, high swing.
There probably was a call here. It's like foul, no contest.
Yeah, just unfortunately going through on the way down.
And I think we got a timeout call. Observer wanted to make sure that one was known.
Yeah, it feels like a good time to maybe reconnect as a team. A couple of weird moments and calls happening. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
Yeah, donating to the league. Also, every team in the league brings something back to their community. I know New York did a great job of like bringing to light some of that mental health awareness. Indy's brought to light some different like places that you can donate to help out with different communities. So your money goes somewhere that will help grow.
We see Radiance and a vert stack, cuts from the front and back, similar to how the Red have been running theirs.
And a deep look to Claire BC in the end zone.
Yeah, Claire to Claire there. Claire Revere.
Claire to Claire.
Oh my God.
Bit of Gary Curtis.
Oh, celebration time.
There are actually 3 Claires on the team. Claire Hackle as well.
These coordinated celebrations are impressive. You're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got Indy's O-line out here. Curious to see what they set up in.
Yeah, they've had that vert stack that's been working pretty well, especially when they're attacking into that space right away from that front side.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they'll have any other pull plays, maybe some tricks to pull out of their back pocket here.
LNU is a pull sailing past the brick mark, fielded by Tracy Lowe. Cut off the front. Another cut from the front of the stack here.
Raleigh's mark really just taking everything away there. Looked like a timeout might have been called before that disc went off. It was going to sail out of bounds, so.
Yeah, it looked like kind of a desperation throw, so good call by the Indy coaches to time out there.
And I think they saw what we were seeing too. There was just not a lot of downfield movement from Indy.
Yeah.
So when you get that bailout throw.
Some big cuts, but also well defended.
And that's like unique with this type of league is that you can call it, then you get a complete reset. Starting at 0, you can even change some people. So when it's looking dicey, timeout's not a bad idea, especially when there's only, 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. Good call.
Right, especially when they need to possess now and punch this one in.
It's a crucial timeout call for them, so hopefully they can knock in a score here. See what they're setting up in.
Raleigh gets that chance too to kind of interrupt this attempt to get closer. They really want to make it 10-6 before this is done, or even more. So they probably also are coming with a pretty good game plan.
Looks like we'll get Mattamore and Kat McGuire off the back of the stack. And Mast off the front. Finding Kat McGuire.
Quick offhand up the field.
Oh, that's exciting.
Raleigh with a big foot block.
You could hear that from up here.
Yeah, that was Meg Manning with a big block.
Oh, good save.
Oh! Same Meg Manning with the great grab.
Get her a scholarship.
And another timeout.
Oh,
I think
too
that
good.
one came off before the turn there, so. Raleigh will have
Yeah.
it back where the swing came off.
Both on the same point, right?
Yeah.
Two very well-timed timeouts, using the league's rules very well. If the coach calls the timeout before the throw is made, the disc will come back. Stall is reset. The line can reset. They have 70 seconds to decide what they're going to do.
And both coaching sets are very experienced in clearly making these strategic decisions. Both teams are no stranger to these, you know, big finals weekends, so.
Got Raleigh setting up here in a little bit of a angled stack, similar to what Red did earlier. We've got one Raleigh player out in space. That's Karen Earhart.
You're hearing the crowd really root for that defense.
And Red put quite a few players in the lane there. Check it up, but Raleigh got a throw off. Right on the doorstep here. Ooh, nice toes.
Great grab, good edge on that throw too.
That's Claire Revere on the
On the
catch
goal.
there.
Yep. Thrown by Audrey Lyman.
You know, talking to the Raleigh coaches too, they said this is a completely different team than the one that won just a few years ago. There's only 10 returners on that roster, and then they have a unique makeup of different colleges from all across the country coming together. So they kind of have this great space that has so many different perspectives all in one that you can really gain that from each other.
Yeah, so some of those long points in the first quarter going to Indy Red. This one goes Radiance's way. Radiance now pulling.
Just landed in bounds. Great pull.
Centered.
Finding Mast again from that front of the stack.
Big under there to Kat McGuire. Great handler cut there from Mast.
Yeah, a lot of players switching spaces. You see them come back to the handler space, but then filter back downfield. It's a very dynamic O-line. Coach described it as well-balanced. All of these players are ready to go attack the space and get the next pass.
Good bid by Raleigh, but great disc movement by Indy. One of the things that I also saw was a lot of people flowing and going, but also that willingness to give just a tiny quick throw too, just to keep the disc moving.
Yeah, that score locker into Matamore. Both of them already on the stat sheet.
Got just a little bit of time left here in the second quarter. Just under 50 seconds.
Yeah, I think Indy feels good here about putting their D-line back out. Probably see that zone again. Force Radiance to throw a lot of passes to getting any yards. And I'm sure, yeah, Radiance offense is expecting it.
All right, we got the whole field covered now with the shade, so hopefully that sun isn't a factor anymore. Lights are starting to pop on. I mean, anytime you play underneath the lights, there's something special about that.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a bit cooler also than the first game, first semifinal was. Good bid there by Riso Meno. Alex Barnett collects the disc.
Yep, very steady, even with all that pressure.
Good flow here from Radiance. Working it up the open side. And back to their end zone set with those 3 handlers working it amongst themselves. And there's the end of the second quarter.
Wide open
Nice.
in the end zone.
Yeah,
There
great
we
patience
go.
there. Radiance swinging it around and punching it in when they know even a turnover is more safe than it was a second ago.
Good way to punch out that last little bit. They're going into the next half, 11-7. Good spot to be in. But if you're Indy, there's still a great way to come back. They're not, you know,
They're not rolling over.
yeah, they're not gonna roll over, and they're not new to coming back either. So we could still have, you know, pretty dynamic next quarter.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the second half.
The Blue Trucks still here.
All right, welcome back. We have just one half of our semifinals left. Radiance just leading the way 11-7 with Indy Red ready to close the gap. Starting off with a big pull from Raleigh. Indy ready to close that.
We have a deep look going off.
Oh. Nice defense there. LNU.
Good look. Thought we were going to get it on the second attempt there. Big bid.
Looks like Radiance is playing vert stack. No zone here from Red since they started on offense.
You can hear on the sideline, you know, Indy's whole staff and sideline just really trying to encourage that turnover. They know they have a gap to fill, and they're trying to get their players hungry to take it.
Yeah, the sideline
Great
feels
grab.
especially loud for this game.
It's a lot easier to travel from Indianapolis than it is from North Carolina.
That's fair.
We know Raleigh has players from all over. Indy does have a pretty good heavy chunk of just Midwestern players. So it makes sense that there's a little more connection with some of those players on the sideline. Great inside throw.
Meg Manning here with the disc. Probably 7 yards out of the end zone. Guarded here by Garinser. LNU right on the doorstep. Oh, tight coverage, but finding a hole. LNU finding Ginny Riedel. Just looked too easy.
Yep, Raleigh being steady. You hear the crowd really encouraging. There's only one more half. We got it. We can get this back.
I played many years ago with Phoenix, so there are a few players that I recognize. Ginny is one of those, and it just feels like she's been the same player for 20 years, and I think she'll just keep going. Very impressive downfield and with the disc in her hand. And speaking of players who've been on the team, this Raleigh team has been in the championships before. Back in 2023, they were in the championships, and 10 of their 23-person roster today was on that roster as well. So this is, you know, 10 out of 23 is about half, so quite a bit of experience, but also quite a bit of newer players who maybe haven't seen this stage before. It looks like Red came out in some sort of pull play, but didn't connect with the cutters. There's a short side turn here, and Radiance is again about 10 yards outside the end zone.
Oh, just a little low.
Yeah, that throw was to good space, but didn't make it far enough.
We have a deep look to Kat McGuire here.
Yeah, nice space pass by Claire Milton. Wide open Gibbs on the sideline. Back to Kat McGuire. Over to Lizzie Tilden. Gibbs. Manzumeno. Back to Lizzie Tilden, who punches it in
Nice response.
for 57. Ellie Joes goes by Jello. Nice work, Red, moving it all the way back down the field.
I think that first turnover from Indy was they did have Skittles available for that reset, but maybe not noticing it. There they saw Melissa Gibbs just available. That helped reset the count, helped to maintain possession right in the end zone line. So might not get the stat, but that was pretty crucial in maintaining that possession. So good work.
Okay, we've got Indy Red back on D against the Radiance O-line. Looks like all three players are on this line, right next to each other there. Indy Red is in their zone. Handlers are moving the disc to the
And that's
sideline.
tipped by the defender.
The disc goes up.
Ooh, Raleigh there though.
Wow.
Great heads-up play by Raleigh, but
Yeah.
also amazing defensive effort on Indy's part.
Right, yeah, just punching it through that zone, even with a hand block, Raleigh coming down with that and punching it in.
We've all been there. We know that stings a particular way, but you just got to reset and keep going.
Yeah, good safe play.
There's definitely like a sandlot summer energy vibe. We have like the carnivals with the light in the background. It's starting to get a little cooler. The lights are popping on. It's turning out to be a beautiful night in
Agreed.
Cottage Grove, Wisconsin. I'm sure some of the teams that they were driving up, they're like, what? Huh?
I was actually surprised how much closer it is to Madison. And
Yeah.
I've lived here for a while.
Yeah, we've got quite the crowd that came out too. Both locals and people who have traveled in.
Yeah, especially there's a few tournaments occurring. We know there's some key players tonight in London, and then we also have a lot of local players participating in Masters Regionals. So even with some pretty big chunks of people out, we still have a nice crowd here in Madison, outside of Madison, I should say.
Yeah, this steady Red O-line just finding each other. This is a person defense forcing flick.
Little lefty high release backhand there. Just outside the end zone.
Ooh, just a little too high. You saw the vision though.
Yeah, that was, again, to good space, but execution was just not easy to catch.
I thought at first that Indy was going to jump in, but given that it's a little bit slick out with that harder turf, it makes sense to kind of maybe save the joints.
Yeah, I think LNU's had a couple of those, just bodying, not needing to jump, just reading it well.
Wow, what a put from LNU. Up to Hannah Betcher. Into the end zone for
Swerzinski.
fired up.
All right, we got 14-8.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of momentum right now on the Raleigh side. What do we think that Indy needs to do to kind of fire back up and get back in this?
Yeah, I mean, Raleigh's doing a great job of utilizing different spaces, attacking right away. So I'm curious if Indy's finding a way to really slow those quick transitions. I know their zone has been kind of their go-to, but is there like a different set that maybe we can slow down that quick deep shot or that quick give go.
Right, that last time there was no stopping that big throw right through the zone. So yeah, we'll see if their defense changes at all. But for now, we've got Radiance on D.
I feel like we saw maybe more handler switches or different things where marks were peeling off in the prior semi, and we haven't seen too much of that, so that might be a good option too, especially with Raleigh's great calm handler set.
Right, containing the disc using those, switches and rolls.
And that one was tipped also, it looks like.
Oh.
Gibbs coming in. And there's
Gibbs
no
says
call
no.
there. Yeah. So Raleigh picks up. This inside.
Yeah, this quick movement from Radiance.
Yep, there's that quick, just right after a transition, looking to attack right away.
Yeah, I think early season too, talking with their coach, they were encouraging the deep shot, maybe even more than was necessary or smart, but it's easier to rein it back than to teach when to put it deep. So I like that they're quick transitions. They've got somebody running deep right away. Nice movement there. Punching it in.
Yeah, Indy with that touch off the hook. Gibbs trying to bring it in, just a little too congested. And Raleigh taking advantage.
Yeah, Caitlin Gross with the goal there.
Yeah, Raleigh's D-line offense is very patient.
Oh, Claire Hackle. Claire Hackle with the goal.
And we know Indy's got it in them. They've shown before they can come back. They're a squad that, believes in themselves and believes in their line. So quick reset mentality. Their body language is still fairly positive on the sideline. You see a lot of players working together to collaborate and discuss after points. Raleigh's definitely loose, excited, celebrating each other. They have a nice gap right now.
Bird stack pull play here with the last coming under and the first going deep.
Huge grab.
Yes, very nice catch by McKenna Matamore.
Ooh, and a nice cut downfield. Got some separation from the defender. But Raleigh just had the body positioning on that one, and now they're immediately going deep.
Yep. Right away in that attacking space. Good pickup on Indy. Ooh, almost. Raleigh's not flinching when there's these tight defensive plays. They're just always reining it in, maintaining that composure.
Looks like there's a timeout.
Timeout here on a longer point. Get some fresh legs out there. As a reminder, both teams have 2 timeouts per half. Each timeout is 70 seconds long. The Western Ultimate League and the Premier Ultimate League will play the first ever WUL versus PUL All-Star game during the 2025 UFA Championship weekend in Madison, Wisconsin on August 23rd. The All-Star matchup marks a historic milestone for the sport, the first official event between the 2 premier women and non-binary professional ultimate frisbee leagues in the world. Travel, however, is expensive. Donating to our Give Butter would help our players leave their mark on Ultimate. Scan the QR code to donate.
That's going to be so fun.
Yeah, back in Madison again.
And right now, the WUL has done their voting, but the PUL are just starting that voting. So go to your favorite team. They probably have a link to cast your vote to see which favorite player gets to be lifted to go against the other league. And this was the first season for PUL to gain a California team with LA Astra, which is typically reserved for that Western Ultimate League. So we saw kind of a blending of that. So to see this blending of this matchup too with the All-Stars is going to be really fun.
Looks like out of that timeout, Red was back in their zone, but Radiance able to pop it over the top, and they're off to the races. Red is now in person defense, forcing flick, and Radiance will just run their end zone.
Yeah, it looks like Red tried to have a little switch on the defense there, which is a good call. You can hear them yelling, roll, roll. So, but Raleigh is able to punch it in.
Trying to make those adjustments, especially when you have like really dynamic handlers like Barnett. Let's see if they continue with that strategy. The crowd still really trying to encourage Indy. I know they're looking for just a great game too, so they're just wanting both teams to continue to showcase all of their great athleticism, great throws. We've seen a lot of great plays. I would say this game, way more deep shots than what we saw in the semifinal, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. And with time to get under them in moments, so there's, yeah, some exciting grabs over a crowd or exciting defensive plays where you're disrupting that deep look.
Great pull there.
Kind of flood right away. A couple people going deep, one person coming across.
Yeah, it doesn't look, again, like their pull play worked, but they were able to flow pretty well into a different offensive set until that turnover. Disc will be now with Radiance, with most of the field to work.
Good pressure, but once again, Raleigh is so good at catching it under that pressure, that presence right behind them.
Oh, some contact there
Yep, little player collision.
after the catch.
It's like everyone's just trying to figure out kind of what happened and where the disc needs to go.
Yeah, I think Natalie Baumgarten had caught it and then was throwing as two Red players collided. Lyra Olsen finding Mary Rippey.
We got a
Oh,
inside
deep shot.
flick.
Yeah, Baumgarten
Great.
reels it in.
Two defenders in the area there.
I mean, they are having a great night in general. Like, you might not see the stat line boosting, even though we have a score here, but just really tons of defensive pressure, interrupting a lot of plays. Like, a really fun player just to watch in general.
Yeah, I think both teams are just full of athletes. And at this point, it's feeling like the Radiants are just a little deeper as a team. And so they've still got legs here.
All right, we got 2 minutes. It is 17-8. So Indy's got to kind of pull off a lot of chips to get after this. What's nice about Indy too, they have those kind of different cohorts. They have some Michigan, some St. Louis, they have Indy players. So there's a lot of different ways that you can develop that chemistry and work off of each other. And that was a little too much. Let's see how they respond. Raleigh with that quick transition as usual.
Nice space pass there.
Great throw.
Oh,
Wow.
that is
Yep.
caught.
Great heads up.
Another goal for Radiance. Lots of smiles over here.
Yeah, when those turnovers had happened at the beginning of the game, you know, we saw a little more back and forth, but now we're starting to see if there is a turnover, Raleigh is just really executing the first time, which is really hard to respond, right? That pressure comes on you on offense. You know that they're doing really well when the turnovers occur, which is just a tough spot. Nice big pull.
Stall count rising.
Nice little swings there to save possession. Garinser near the disc a lot. Mass now finds Tracy Lowe. Back to Garinser.
Looks like Red's in a little bit of a host stack here now.
Ooh, tight window. Maybe wasn't expecting that throw, but it was a good streak. Raleigh attacking right away.
And that throw's just a little bit short and low. So Red will get another chance here.
Good grab.
We've arrived at the end of the third quarter. So Red will play out this possession. Radiance will not have a chance to score. Mast and Lowe working on the sideline here. Finding Garinser in the middle. Nice big swing wide. Good look. Wide open goal. Nice work, Indy, possessing and punching it in for that end of the third quarter.
Okay, that brings us to 9 for Indy and 18 for Raleigh. So when you're going to the last quarter, right, Indy's main goal is to generate as many goals as possible as soon as possible. Well, Raleigh's going to be looking at slowing things down, maintaining possession, but are there any other things we might see that you think, oh?
I think it's also just how Red responds, right? Like this could be the end of their season. And I think they need to lean into each other and rely on that mentality that the coach talked about earlier.
All right, go ahead, take that break, get to the bathroom. Let's see this last quarter of our final semifinal.
right, welcome back for the fourth quarter of this semifinal matchup between Radiance and Red. We've got Raleigh Radiance and Indy Red, and one player we'd like to highlight is from Raleigh Radiance, number 17, Karen Earhart. Karen has been playing a great game with at least 3 goals. This nice, easy one. Wide open in the
She's
end
staying
zone.
at your house, correct? Erin?
Yes, yeah. I'm hosting a few of the Radiance players, and Karen is one of those. So excited to know her more after spending some more time together. Nice game, Karen.
Well, it sounds like you might need to bring home something nice, 'cause that's a great effort.
Yeah.
Glass of chocolate milk. We'll figure it out.
And we see Karen here coming out on the O-line for Radiance.
What's your guys' as players' favorite after, performance treat?
That's a great question.
I'm usually like an ice cream girl,
Yep.
but honestly, this Coke is very good. Coca-Cola.
I love a Culver's, especially the kids' meal. Comes with custard, too.
Some of our traveling players will probably also indulge in Culver's, a Wisconsin treat. Fast food chain known for the custard. All right, let's see what we got here.
We got Audrey Lyman working with Karen, Claire Revere, Jenny Way to break it through this zone once more. Karen Earhart finding Claire Revere. Back to Karen Earhart, back to Claire Revere.
Tight defense by Eliza Hudson. They're so comfortable with those tight little windows and throws. And definitely comfortable with that pressure on, too.
Yeah, this D-line offense. Their offense looked very good here, which is good because we want, they're likely going to the game tomorrow and they want to conserve legs. So the quicker scores are better. But also in the PUL, if you score quickly, it just means that there will be more points because the clock does stop between points.
That brings us to 19-9.
Yeah, that was a Radiance hold there. We saw that Indy Red zone.
The crowd really trying to bring the energy, yes. Great round throw. Great cut.
Great throw to space.
Oh,
Just off the hands. Mast.
Yeah, uncharacteristic drop there. I think the fatigue may be setting in for the Indy Red.
That was a great separation to create that big window, throw into space. I also noticed a few players kind of rubbing their hands on their shorts too. Although it's getting a little cooler, it's still definitely a summer night.
Yeah, I think playing in the PUL, sometimes especially if you're a travel team, and both of these teams did have to travel here to play tonight. Nice D by Makeda Mattermore. Back over to the Red.
Good grab.
I just think about the days these players have had not playing their game until later in the evening. Maybe they traveled today. Maybe they're staying somewhere other than their home.
And there we go.
Great throw.
Nice work, Red, punching that one in.
That was Sydney Loughran on the catch there. See the D here again. Great athleticism in the air.
The wind definitely seems to be gusting a little bit more, which we saw that disc kind of pop up on Raleigh just a little bit. Before that great run through D.
Yeah, talking about, you know, traveling for away games. I know our last away game when we went over to DC, we arrived, most of us in the morning, and it was a very hot day. We weren't really, I don't know, we probably could have gone to the hotel, but it was like, what do we do until our game later in the evening? And I'm wondering if that happened to any of these players today. It's really tough to kind of rest when you're having a travel day and then have to play in this really high pressure game. I think walking over toward the warm-ups too, it did look like these teams warmed up really well. And I wonder sometimes about like over-warming up in the PUL. Since the games do feel pretty long and there's a lot of points, you want to get warm, but sometimes those reps before the game are just tiring too when you're playing against your own team.
Raleigh's moving the disc really quickly here up the field. I mean, that pull was almost in the end zone, and they're just working it.
Yeah, they made quick work of this.
Yeah, great communication downfield too. Just, you know, highlighting when there's a space. There's no question. They just attack it and go.
Yeah, Indy staying in their zone, it looks like. Even as Radiance transitions to their end zone.
I was hoping for that.
Oh.
There we go.
Why not?
Nice find. The hammer finds Jenny Way wide open in the end zone.
Might have been
crowd
able to,
loves it,
yeah, you
yeah.
might have been able to hear like, that's what we want.
Are
When
you
that
not
went up.
entertained?
Yeah.
I think that was the phrase. There's still some high quality ultimate going on, even though the score's not reflecting that, so.
Yeah, both teams are playing very hard, making great passes, working it up the field.
Yeah, Raleigh was doing a good job just noticing open hands, hitting, going. And Indy was right there. There was pressure all around in all the different spaces. It's just tough when it's that efficient. All right, under 9 minutes, we got 20 to 10.
Got a big cheer here from the fans for Red, so. Definitely feeling the love there.
Yep.
Tracy Lowe finds Rachel Mast. Back to Tracy Lowe. Telling Makeda Matamore to go deep.
That's a fun angle.
Round throw with a great grab.
That was a great catch by Lochran. Reigns with the disc now.
Ooh, second foot block of the game.
Yeah.
And immediately streaking deep. That was number 88, Maddie Putsky. Inside break.
Great grab.
Ooh.
Tight window and shooting deep. Kind of bladey catch.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Double D by Rachel Mast.
It was an almost catch your D moment.
Yeah, the edge on that throw was really good, just a little higher, and you got it right over that defender, but also great play. Woohoo!
Garenser finding Makeda Matamore.
Let's grab there. And I think as fatigue sets in, it's really working on setting up your cuts, getting open, not getting too lazy here.
Yeah, going back to fundamentals. Find the space. Cut hard and clear hard.
Just little far on the swing there, so Raleigh's going to get a chance to punch it in, going the other way. Got most of the field to work it up.
It's a longer point than we've had in a while. I'm curious if there might be a timeout.
Floaty disc. Red in the air again. That's Matamore. All over the field. We got a deep look. Can they get there?
Oh, yes.
Nice work.
Softball slide grab.
Yep. Indy doing that quick give go.
Nice work, Sydney Loughran, to run that down.
Oh, Sydney scoring their last 2 points. See this grab there, also from Loughran.
It's a really dynamic point. Lots of big plays.
Yeah.
Safe. All right, now we're looking at 20-11. Raleigh still on top. 6 minutes left.
You can just see the relief of that point being done.
Yeah, when you're on the sideline and you see your teammates when they come off, you're just like, thank you for everything that you did out there.
Risa Umeno here with the pull.
Doing a majority of the pulls. Great hustle down by Indy.
Looks like we got a lot of Raleigh's O-line.
They're playing person D here. Forcing backhand.
Yeah, this Raleigh team is really leaning into that pressure. Like, it seems like whenever Indy's defense really amps up, they kind of just keep that cool, steady pacing, just hitting those open hands.
Got a deep look into the end zone, and it's just a little too bladey. So Indy with a chance to respond here.
Here we go.
It's all about resilience at this point. Nothing to lose.
St. Louis connection. Ooh, baby!
Wow. Nice bid by Eliza Hutching to save that possession for Red.
Gibbs streaking deep.
Lizzie Tilden finds Risa Umeno. Back toward Eliza.
We've seen the disc pop a few times on that side of the field.
Now there's a bit of a wind going from left to right on the screen. Just enough to pop it. Nice controlled offense into the end zone for Radiance.
That was number 21, Julia Hoffman on the score. Got Alex Barnett on the assist.
And Barnett touching a lot of those pieces to get it up to the field. Great grab by Eliza Hutchinson.
Notable that we haven't talked about yet, Radiance does not have Dawn Colton this weekend. Dawn is training with the World Games team at the London Invite. And even without one of their stronger defensive players, Raleigh here is looking pretty dominant.
And that's like a testament to your systems, right? Like, if you have a lot of people, a lot of depth that you can embed, so that when you have one of those bigger players missing, just shows the thoughtfulness that the coaching staff has brought into play. We saw that with DC too. I mean, each team might have an impact within that. And so it's great to see how different players step up and respond.
So Red's in their vertical stack again and got a zipper off the back. Up to Rachel Mass. swing there.
Radiance defenders still just working, feeling sticky.
Matamore is going to shoot deep. And
There
it'll
we go.
work.
Yeah,
Nice.
finding space over the top. Hess.
Emily Hess in the score there.
Whole team coming on the field to celebrate each other.
Big smiles there.
Yep.
Yeah, well-weighted pass by Matamore.
Raleigh just brings out the next line ready to go.
Stone cold.
12 to 21.
On to the next. There's just over 3.5 minutes left in this game. At the end of this quarter, there's no final possession. The play will just stop at 0. So there may be a buzzer beater, or we may see if Raleigh's holding the disc, may just possess and hold on to that disc.
Yeah, and I'm curious strategically for, tomorrow, is Raleigh looking at keeping on some of their main lines, or are they looking to switch some new people in? It's kind of that balance between resting some of your main players and still working on that consistency and chemistry. So that pull will go out of bounds.
I think both teams are doing a good job of that, next point mentality. You saw Raleigh there, just on the next point, let's go. Indy's done that too, just really responsive when things aren't going their way. So it's been great to see that.
There was like a 3-2 downfield with the top of the 3 coming under. Looks like there was a collision on the field.
Disc will go back.
The pull play did seem to work for Raleigh, and it does seem that Indy Red has not been playing their zone even on D points in this last quarter.
Great grab.
Inside throw there.
Martin.
High release. Wow.
Crafty throws, but to wide open people.
I was gonna say, if that one didn't work out, they had probably two other players in a position where they could also attack and score.
The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. Have you all thrown other discs than a Discraft?
I don't know if I'm the person you should ask that to. I don't think I've ever looked at what disc I'm throwing.
When the men's professional team was just up and coming, I remember at college nationals they were passing out the disc, and I didn't like it. I'm a classic Discraft gal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would agree. There have been some other ones that just float a little differently, and I could see maybe why the men's league and the men's division may like it better than Discraft, but gotta stick with the old standard. 175 gram.
And listen, we're glad you're out there tossing the B, but I think this whole stand here is Discraft gals.
Another pull goes out of bounds. Tracy Lowe brings it to the brick mark, marked by Carmen Tormey.
And we're just under that 2-minute mark.
Stick with it.
Nice.
So Red's right on the front of the end zone here. Staying patient, swinging. Nice around.
Pick is called.
All right, let's see who gets really dynamic in that end zone box for Indy.
And it's Matamore.
There we
Yes.
go. I'll take that. (22-13). Raleigh still in the lead. 1 minute 15 seconds.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The Premier Ultimate League is a 501c3, 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
Shout out to Aaron, just rocking the ads all night. We get the full Friday night's lights feel, clear eyes, full heart.
Carnival in the background.
There's a carnival in the background, which is a little odd and amazing at the same time.
Which players do you think are going to the carnival after this? Or you think they're going home and sleeping?
If you were to place bets. Not Melissa Gibbs. She doesn't have time for that nonsense.
She's going home.
Yeah.
We got a deep look. One defender in the area. Really safe defense there.
Yeah, Claire Milton coming down with that one.
Quickly picking up.
Looks like a nice set play there, off the turn.
Man, I've had the pleasure of playing with Eliza before, and she just always grinds. Doesn't matter what day, what condition. And I'm seeing that with a lot of the Raleigh players too. Just, I don't care what the score is, I'm gonna put my best foot forward at all times.
Got that dog in them.
Yeah. And we've been lucky and privileged to see a lot of players who definitely have that in them on all of the semifinals so far. It's almost like it's championship weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
Claire Milton there right after the turn, streaking deep. But Radiance did a really great job picking up deep and helping.
Big under. Oh, and an unfortunate drop right on the sideline there.
10 seconds to go.
As a reminder,
more
this is a
pass.
buzzer beater situation, so we'll see if Raleigh can make it exciting for us.
Boom. Why not?
Throw
Not
it
sure it went off
anyway.
before the buzzer. I guess it did.
Great game, y'all.
No, it didn't count, so.
Fun way to end.
Raleigh taking it 22-13. Just a lot of dynamic transitions. They're elated for good reason.
Yeah, congratulations to Radiance, and also congratulations to Indy Red for being here in championship weekend. Great game.
Yep, both teams have been in and out of this weekend throughout the years, and so it's been great to see them showcase and go after each other, which is a combination we haven't seen in a while. And we thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow we have the finals as well, where we get to see DC face Raleigh, which will be a great matchup. Two teams, very different styles.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting to see how those styles combine and clash. See who comes out on top.
All right, thank you all for joining us. Jim, happy Father's Day. I know you're actually watching it just to watch your real daughter, Melissa Gibbs, but just wanted to give you the shout out.
Shout out to all the dads out there. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.